the engineers on site. And whereas the Board of Directors of AlexRenew Enterprises expresses its appreciation to Karen Palanche for building a nationally recognized wastewater utility that is far stronger than when she started, and that has forever improved the environmental quality of Alexandria and the Potomac River watershed.
Now, therefore, the Board of Directors hereby recognizes Karen Palanche for her outstanding contribution to AlexRenew Enterprises, the City of Alexandria, its residents, businesses, and others served by AlexRenew in Fairfax County. Everybody
Well, thank you all very much. You know, it's funny to hear it all spoken and written down because it's just something I did. I loved what I did. I had an incredibly supportive husband, drove him crazy, but I have 2 kids that also really supported what I did. You got to have that grounding and the cheerleaders in them to do well, and I've always had a great staff. And then just the River Renew team has been incredible. You know, you don't do it alone, you do it with everybody. And I have been blessed throughout all the time here at AlexRenew, good or bad, having just an incredible group of folks that I can look to and lean on. And the water industry is super small, so we all know each other and we build upon those friendships. So I can't say enough thank yous to everybody who's made my life so successful and lifted me up, and hopefully I've given back to all of them. That's what we do as leaders and what we do in the water sector. So hopefully some of that has rubbed off and helped others see just what AlexRenew is, what a utility can be, and how important what we do helps all of our communities, and especially here in the city, be just the best that we can be. So thank you again for putting this together. It is amazing. I just did it, and it's nice that you captured it all, and now I can go and redo my resume, which I haven't done in many years, much more easily than I had the chance earlier. So thank you very much for the kind words and thoughts, and again, all of your support over these years.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You've made being on the board 2 things: absolutely enjoyable and rewarding, but also easy. You
That's
really
my
do.
job.
You make us look good. You really do, and we appreciate that.
Not much to work with, but hey, you guys have really stepped up to the plate. I appreciate it, and no, but that's what any leader does for their board, their council, whatever, is to help you be the best and do the best you can for whomever you serve. So I appreciate that. That means a lot that I've been able to help you, and hopefully you have gotten to see the staff and see just what a good utility can be.
And by the way, to see the staff and how strong they are, that's another reflection on a very effective city.
And themselves. They have to bring it to the table first, and then I have to help grow it.
Well, I understand you push a little bit.
I do. I'm very pushy. That's my husband.
Okay, well, let's move on to, this is going to be your last report on business outcomes.
It is. And since this is my last report, I'm going to take it very slowly. I'm going to pull a card from the board chair's book. So we'll walk through this very carefully. I'm sorry.
Yes, we do. You see, one
Oh,
parliamentary
thank you, Mark.
point. One parliamentary point. Do we have a motion to approve the proclamation?
So
Moved by Mr. Dickinson, second by? Second. Second by?
thank you.
Calderella. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimous.
It's on the record.
That's a plus.
to outcomes.
Back to outcomes. You have my report. I don't have anything else to add to it. We are in legislative season. There's, I forget the total number of bills, almost 1,900 that have dropped. I think the last day for bills is the 20th, if I recall correctly. You recall we have a legislative consultant, Preston Bryant, who works with McGuire Woods Consulting. He is down in Richmond on our behalf, as is VAMWA and VWWAA, which is the Virginia Water and Waste Authorities Association. And so they are monitoring the bills and letting us know. Preston also works very closely with the city's legislative director and assistant city manager, Sarah Taylor. So Sarah's down there now as well. So crossover, I think, is February 8th. And at that point, we'll really know what bills are in play. And I'm sure the new general manager, CEO, will keep you informed at that point. We have the dashboard from AlexRenew. Are there any questions on that?
Pile driving at Pendleton starts in February.
February, yes. And we do have a stakeholder advisory group meeting tomorrow evening from 7 to 9 here. And we also have the council board work group meeting at 5 here. So they're both here, both tomorrow evening. So we'll get a little bit more detail in those presentations around the upcoming pile driving at Pendleton Street. So we have a bit more that talks about how we're remediating it, what the noise levels are going to be, some things around that. So after that presentation, I'll go ahead and make sure that presentation gets mailed out to all of you.
I noticed that we have at least two permits that come forward in January. Is that before Planning Commission or City Council? There's one for final site approval.
Can you point to the page, please?
Would be on page 3.
Well Street.
No permits under Pendleton Street.
Oh,
And then there's one
I see that.
also down on Royal Street.
No,
Staff take care of it.
yeah, these are just staff amendments, so they're,
Final site plans don't, site plans require council approval. Final
Final
site
site plans.
plans are the
that's the word I
blueprints
missed.
and details, and basically staff reviews those to make sure they're consistent with the overview
Thank you.
plans that had already been.
Okay, so it doesn't go either through planning
No.
or council. Okay.
No, because we've already got the basic DSUP. Thank you for that.
Any questions on the dashboard? Moving to the financials. Madam CEO, just a question about delinquents. I think I've asked this before. They continue to roll upward. Now the question has to do with the CARES Act funding, and we dispersed 560,000, something like that.
That was a while ago, yes. It was
Is
one
that
time.
offsetting the 900 of total delinquency?
No, that offset back in the dips that you see in the 2021 October through December
Okay.
timeframe. It was one tranche of money, and that has all been spent out. The other item that I did talk to you about was the LIWAP funding that the state is slowly starting to roll out. That doesn't come through us, it comes through the city, but it's a small amount of money, and it's a different mechanism, so we're not seeing as much reduction, and it's also, that LIWAP money also covers water as well. So there's, it's not as direct as that 500 that you referenced earlier.
Do we have any sense of how much of this is residential vis-a-vis commercial?
It's mostly residential that you're seeing here. So I did want to bring that to your attention. I told you that we, in the last few months, we've been monitoring this closely because it does continue to trend up. And it looks like it's holding. It does have some trends moving forward. We have stopped disconnects for non-payment since COVID started. We're one of the few utilities that have not put that back into play. Virginia American and many of our colleagues around the state implemented the turnoffs for, or shutoffs for non-payment right after COVID, right after we were allowed to go back. So we probably will start that process up because we are getting very close to that $900 million in outstanding debt over the next several months. It is a process, so we just don't go and, hey, you haven't paid your bill. It will be 4 to 6 months before you would actually see that turn off. We would notify everyone. We would give them a chance, like we always do, to get on a payment plan and see how that responds. If we get a good response, we can then delay some of that. But right now, we're not seeing any response. We've gone through calling, working with people who are delinquent and in arrears, and we're just not seeing that payment process and that payment planning working out. And that's the last option that we have.
When individuals agree to go on payment planning, would we see, are they sort of out of this number, or is their debt is still there, so we would start seeing a slow decline?
You should see a slow decline. Often what you will see, though, we do have frequent flyers on the payment program. So we get them on the payment program, they pay for a month or two, and then they go delinquent. We have a process of 60 days, and then they start another payment program. That payment program, I can't remember the details, so I don't want to speak too much about it, but we do work with the homeowner or the customer to make it amenable for what they can pay. We don't set a minimum per se.
Do we add a late charge?
Usually we'll waive the late charge. If they get on a payment plan, we'll waive the late charges, yes. We're very flexible as much as we can be within the bounds of being an authority and the requirements within the Authorities Act and try to get people to pay their bills. But as you can see, it continues to trend up, and even with all of the tools and outreach that we do, we are not seeing a requisite return on our investment.
We don't turn it over to a bill collector, another outside outfit.
No,
So
we
you
don't
can
have that
get
option or opportunity. No, basically what will happen is if we get to that point, we have a contract with Virginia American, and so we do have to pay them to turn off and then turn back on, and that's worked into the debt that the customer has to pay.
Was this, or how was this rather, accounted for in the budgeting projections? I guess it's one thing where we started at $200,000, now that we're close to $1 million. That's gotta be impacting things unless we somehow, in our projections, kind of.
It doesn't directly impact, it's based on the revenue. So we have those revenue projections. Right now, those projections are, you can see they're a little lower than what we had anticipated when you look at the graph on the first one, which is why we're keeping a close eye on it, keeping a close eye on our expenditures, and then trying to make that balance between the two, and why I'm coming to you today saying, yeah, we're gonna have to take a different kind of action to see some results.
Now is not the time to discuss this, maybe in a future board meeting. Do we have any sense of kind of what the stories are behind each of these delinquencies?
No.
I mean, maybe for a future board meeting, there's a way to sort of make it anonymous, but this.
We really can't get into what those stories are. We just know if people pay or don't pay. We can look through, we can try to pinpoint it. We've done that before. It's an effort. Where there are non-payments around the community, and it's all over. It's both those that you would think could pay and those that you would normally see. Many who are in, have assisted housing and things like that don't really pay the bill. It's
Right.
paid by ARHA, it's paid by other folks. So sometimes you just don't see that. I think for every person, there would be a different and unique story. And some are what you think they are, and some maybe not. At the end of the day, some have thousands and thousands of dollars because they know that there's no recourse unless we turn off their water, and we've had that before. And then there's the ones who are just legitimately having to choose between what they pay, right? We've gone through the Alice rankings where we've talked to you when we've set rates, and you have those people who live paycheck to paycheck, and there's not a lot of backstop about, well, my rent's gone up, or my housing mortgage has gone up, or food has gone up, and I don't have that extra money. So I think there's a story for everyone. I would say it would be a time and expense to try to figure those out, to tell the stories. They're out there. I'm not sure how it serves to move us ahead, because at the end of the day, when we offer those letters, the people who have the need and the people who have the desire will call us, and we will do whatever we can to help them through to the best of our limited ability.
Now, I understand the constraints on it.
Just know that, yeah, every story you can think of and those you can't are the stories we get to hear.
It's one thing, it was 200 folks, that's 1,000.
There's a lot of folks.
A lot of folks.
A lot of folks. A lot of it is they know that, like when Virginia American turns off, and they've been shutting off quite a bit, that money all goes to Virginia American. But they know here, well, if I have to pay that bill, I'm not going to pay this bill. And so we just need to get on par. We've seen this before, if you remember.
Yep.
Many years ago, we were in the same position, and as soon as we started that shut-off process and people understood, yeah, I have to pay both bills, we saw this drop back down to these numbers that you see here. It's a carrot and a stick. It's probably not the best thing, but at the end of the day, we do run a business, and we have to make sure people pay for the services that are provided to them. And that's the tool that we have here.
I think we probably find everybody, whether it's taxes, whether it's vendors giving people extra time to pay bills, or landlords on rent. For the most part, we're almost the last left in our community. Maybe like Virginia is saying, we won't turn you off. And people, your rational decision, if your kind of things are tight, is what's the least pain I would have, and which bill do I pay, and which bills don't I pay? So it's rational that we're not paying our bills.
No. This is where we are.
Yeah.
It's bigger than us. It's all the external factors going on in America.
Right, there's just so many things. I mean, I understand it, I feel their pain. I mean, we see our bills here go up, and chemicals going up 200%. We're all suffering through that. And so, as Mr. Jinks said, it's how do you make those decisions? And so we're gonna have to nudge them to help them see that this bill is an important bill to pay too.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions concerning the outcomes report or the financials?
One other item to point your attention to, in the back we have, we've tried to update the calendar for the year, bless you. And I would ask that you review I'm looking for where the meetings are. The blue, the finance and audit meetings. We have May 20th scheduled for your public hearing for rates and budget. You also have March 27th. That would be an evening meeting from 5 to 7 for the Finance and Audit Committee to do the deep dive into the budget and recommended rates that staff will give you at the March 21st board meeting. So just take a look. If you have any changes or any concerns, please let Lorna know, and she will work with the new general manager to make adjustments as needed. I think I did not put, we have not scheduled, oh, we did schedule one. We scheduled a governance meeting on September 18th. I know you've had many governance meetings over the last several months, so we kind of put it off toward the end of the year. So take a look at that, and if there's changes there that you want as well.
Our governance committee is very energetic. They might want to move that forward.
I know they are, I hear that. So that's why I'm bringing it up, so you can all have a conversation around that as we go forward. So take a look, and this is as current as we have it. And then again, there were some questions about the compensation philosophy, so I included that, and am happy to have that conversation about the what and the why. Or if you have any additional questions going forward, just give me a call or drop me a note.
And the Finance and Audit Committee meeting in March, that's with Robin Terry and the rate.
Yes, the rate consultants have that blocked out, and they will be here to help walk through in detail as needed how staff came up with the rate recommendation that will be coming to you on the 21st of March. We are in a rate setting year.
I don't know if it got through to you, but the Federation of Civic Associations, they wanted to have a briefing on the 28th or 29th. Did you see that message?
No, we have not received any message. We haven't heard from them.
Okay,
So I didn't
I'll
know.
go back and ask them to send it. I asked them to send it to you.
They did not, okay. The 28th and 29th is this
The
month?
28th or 29th?
This month?
No, March.
Oh, March.
Yeah.
Oh, no, still haven't heard from them. Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. I understand there's cupcakes too.
Oh, there's cupcakes have appeared.